Hello YouTubers, this is David here for another video on my Nissan Sentra. So a couple months back, my car had an issue with the thermostat failing, causing an overheat of the engine. And after that, started having a lot of other issues. Those are been replaced already, the thermostat, as well as the belt snap, switched that. But now the most recent thing I know is related to that thermostat overheating and subsequent the entire engine overheating is I started developing a crack on this plastic part of my radiator. So when that first happened, I went ahead and got some quick steel, blue steel quick steel, and I patched it up here. So overall, I gotta say, did a pretty good job. But I don't know if it's my case, the way to put where the crack was, I didn't seal it up quite so good. But it started seeping out on the bottom here. So I did some research online, and what they say is you should just replace the radiator. It's about time anyways. So today my new radiator came in. Bought online on eBay for about 43 bucks. Curious to see how this performs compared to the OEM one. I mean, I could have went to a local shop, about $77, auto parts store. Want to give this $43 one a chance. So the first step you want to do is remove the radiator cap and open your peacock down below. See, I already done that, and I have my fluid draining down. I'm going to try to reuse this fluid if it's in good condition. Like I said, I had my thermostat fail, so I did a a coolant change already, like a month ago, so it should still be good. So let's keep that in mind. So once again, open the peacock. It's down below there. It's a little plastic bit. Let all the fluid drain out, and then begin taking out the radiator by first taking out this connector here. Mine was really tight. I ended up using a flathead screwdriver here, and I basically shimmied it in there like that, and I pulled it out like so. So just give it some elbow grease and it will eventually come out. So the next step I'm going to do is go ahead and take out these bolts and begin the radiator removal process. Alright. Okay, just an update here. After I remove these two brackets here, remove them. This one, you have to remove this one too, but I just kind of removed the bolts here and kind of slid it, around. And we're just gonna try to take this out, but not quite yet. There's one more cable connection for the fan right down here. And so the way to do that is the same way. You just wedge your flathead screwdriver down this tab and pull it up. So once again, this one went into here. See that connector here. And finally, take out the upper radiator hose. Go ahead and get some pliers, squeeze that clip out, pull it back. So I find it easier to take out these older hoses from the plastic bit, meaning to the radiator, rather than from the engine block, just because the engine block, that part is made out of metal, and over time the heat and the stresses gets this hose on pretty tight. But who knows, maybe later on I'm gonna have to remove that anyways, but hopefully we don't. And after that, we finish the top part of removal. We go ahead and look at the bottom. So on the bottom here, let's take a look real quick. Unfortunately, I kind of had to take out more things than I would have liked. I had these little plastic clips over here that I use this tool to avoid breaking them. Just kind of pinch it and pull it out, bend this out, and then you're going to start seeing the lower radiator hood removed, like so. Once again, the plastic part here, the peacock is shown here. So now I'm going to go ahead and tackle these two transmission cables. Same way, I'm going to try to remove it to the radiator. Right here, so now we're on the passenger side underneath the vehicle. I need to tackle this final transmission hose here, removing it from the radiator. Key point here is to remove these plastic rivets here using that tool that I showed you guys earlier. This guy here. Let's get a grip on it and then pull the screw top off like that. It's not to damage it. Open the flap a little bit, expose it, use your pliers to release these grips, pull it back. So I spent a little bit of time here. The challenging part is to get it loose, right? What I did was I stuck a flathead screwdriver here while I pull with the other hand and then kind of shimmy it. So you see how now I can like rotate it with my hand like so. So the key point here, and the key point is that once this comes out, transmission fluid will come out. So please be ready for when that happens. Once we're done here, we'll just go ahead and then remove the overflow connection, and hopefully this radiator is going to slide out by itself. So let's go ahead, keep on to shimmy it. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to get a pan on the bottom to catch this fluid when it comes out. Be right back. Well, what I do want to show you guys here is I've got to show you guys. Here is the overflow tank, and then the connection is this guy here. So alright, so at long last finally got this radiator out. So like I said, disconnect all those hose connections, all those bolts, and finally pull it out. The only issue I had here, see this little rubbing here, is this guy, this fuse box for the battery, it seems. I'm gonna look it up on how to remove this guy, at least pivot it out of the way, because it was a pain. And it's like forcing it out, so rub a little bit. Hopefully when I put the new one in, I'm not gonna have that issue. But yeah, now comes the fun part. I'm going to have to compare this old one to new one. Install these cooling fans on the newer one. See how it goes. Alright, now I got both the old one and the new one side by side. They look to be a good size, good fit. So let's go ahead and take these old ones here. These are the rubber mounts. Mine I bought on eBay, did not include any of these rubber accessories. So I'm going to use the old ones. You know, if yours come with these accessories, more power to you. My rubber's kind of eating away already. So alright, so you want to remove these two top bolts here. Go ahead and take the fan out and align up the bolts like so. So bottom first, like so. And then finally bolt it up on top. Alright, long story short, so far I'm not that impressed with my online purchase here off of eBay. When it first came in, I noticed that the screws didn't really catch on, didn't really bite, and it turns out that what they do is they include washers. I mean, they just include the washer, but they don't actually include a bolt, right? So, and it looks like from the shape of this, it's not like I can get a normal, you know, hex washer to put in here. And so yeah, it's definitely not an original fit. I'll just put it that way. And these were a pain to deal with, just an absolute nightmare. So yeah, definitely I would, if I do this again, I'd definitely go to your my local auto parts store and go ahead and buy a proper piece. It's like this one, I can't even get it in that flush, you know. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it as is and just install it. Hopefully it won't be loose. Yeah. Alright, went ahead and slid the new radiator in there. Surprisingly, putting it back in wasn't as bad. About this bit here, so I had to remove that. Still rubbed a little bit, but I think we're fine here. Alright, so first things first, I would definitely go with the strategy of connecting the bottom hoses first, and then finally finishing up top. So let's go ahead and do that. Here we are, so I ended up attaching the hose like so. This is the radiator hose on the passenger side. It's a snug fit now. All I gotta do is to move the, I guess the bracket, you could say hose bracket, back to the locking place and move on. Alright, here we are. So we're at the bottom here. I went ahead, as you guys can see here, went and connected the transmission hose, transmission cooler hose on the driver's side, as well as the lower radiator hose. Secure the clamps like so. Make sure you close the drain peacock. And now all that's left is to put these plastic rivets back into the trim piece. go ahead and do that. These guys right here. And like that. Make sure the holes line up. One more. Alright, I think we're good on the bottom. Let's go back on top. Alright, now back on top, we're left with securing the bolts onto these brackets, like so. Go ahead and put these the electrical cable for the fan, so it clicks both left side and right side. Go ahead and put these ties back in where they belong. This one goes, I'm not quite sure where this one goes. Oh, here we go. This one goes here. And then this one goes here. Right, I think there was one more, yeah, here. And this one goes back onto here, and this one clips inside, which is good. Alright, fantastic. So let's go ahead and inspect how our old radiator fluid looks like. If it's still good, I'm going to reuse that. Alright, so unfortunately in my case, my old fluid had some metal particles in there. So I decided to just go ahead and use a new fluid. Despite the old fluid only being a month old, it's probably still chemically good to go. So let's go ahead and pour in a new fluid. Alright, before we do that, I want to make sure this is well attached. This is the overflow tank. As you can see, this is connected, the clips are on tight, and the brackets are in. Let's go ahead and put in new fluid now. So I actually don't know how much it takes, but then I'm just going to keep filling it until it's full. Make sure that once you fill the radiator with new antifreeze radiator fluid, you're going to keep the engine running. Keep the engine running until, I would say, operating temperature, and also both your upper and lower hoses are the same temperature, because that verifies that your thermostat has now opened and the whole system is open, so the new fluid can flow throughout the system. If you don't do that, you know, you just don't know how much fluid you actually need in there. And also it helps with getting those air bubbles out once the system is open. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and keep pouring new fluid in there. And next time we check back, we're going to go ahead and start the engine and see how we did. Alright. Alright, like I said earlier, it's best to keep waiting, keep the engine running until it's in operating temperature. To be honest, I couldn't really wait, so I went in and drove it around. And now I'm back. And for sure, when I checked, the coolant level did go down. So I went ahead and refilled it to the top, and then I think I'm good to go. I did notice that the upper radiator was leaking somewhat, so I'll probably have to replace that as well. Alright guys, if you have any questions, just make sure and comment below. So you make sure a good idea, a good rule of thumb is to keep checking the coolant level.